Hey friends, I hope this finds you doing well. In Exodus chapter 13, the first part, we see the Lord giving them some instructions and what you might think of as remembrances. He had established the feast of the Passover that they were to celebrate for all their generations, and then the feast of the unleavened bread. And all of these were a part of them maintaining a remembrance for themselves of God's mighty hand in bringing them deliverance, but for not just their generation that walked out of Egypt, but for each generation to understand what God had done for them as a people. And that's important for us as believers as well, is to have these times where we remember all of that things that God has done in delivering us from sin. It's something that we need to be ready to talk to our children and our grandchildren about how God delivered us, how he showed himself mighty in our lives. Because if Israel forgets, the next generation will, then they fall into idolatry. And we see that in the history of Israel. But in Christianity, as we follow Jesus, as we give our lives to him, we need to remember for our own well-being, but we need to speak these things into our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives so that they understand the godly heritage, so that they remember and seek to experience the wonderful working of God in their lives. In chapter number 13 and verse 17, it says, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. But God led the people around by the way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. And the people of Israel went up out of the land of Egypt, equipped for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the sons of Israel solemnly swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones with you from here. Think about it right there. The first thing we see is God didn't take them the shortest way. He didn't take them the quickest way to the promised land, because there was yet much the Lord needed to teach them. The Lord, in his all-knowing, understood that they would have a propensity to go back into slavery when they saw the difficulties that was before them. And then we see this picture where 430 years of captivity, but they remembered to bring the bones of Joseph, who had been the prime minister of Egypt and given them safety and protection. And now he says, but I too want my bones to go with you to the promised land, to the place of deliverance. And he continues here, and they moved from Succoth and encamped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by the day and the pillar of fire by night did not depart from the people. Well, this is a beautiful picture that from the very beginning, God is showing them that he is present with them. They had come out of Egypt. They had plundered the land, and they were prepared for battle. But he knew that if they faced battle, they might easily go back. And we'll see this in the coming chapters of how they're still living with the mindset of the slave. The mindset of the slave is to feel safe only under the tyranny of the captor. And we think that we are free when the slave owner, sin, tells us we're doing what we want to do. People think, well, I'm free to do this. I'm free to go here. I'm free to do whatever I want. But if we're living under the power, the direction of the evil one, we're not free at all. Paul reminds us that we were slaves to sin. What does that mean? It means we were doing the will of the master, the slave master, the one who sought our destruction. And so when we come to Christ, we're coming to Christ for deliverance, for forgiveness, freedom from all the bondage and suffering that sin will bring into our lives. And he then delivers us, redeems us, forgives us, but he wants us to have a new mindset, not that of a slave, but that of a son. He takes us out of captivity and he equips us to do battle against the enemy. How does he do that? He puts his own presence in us. He gives for Israel the pillar of clouds to lead them by day and the pillar of fire to lead them by night. They would journey at night, no doubt, through these desert lands because it was cooler and safer to travel. But he was always present. The pillar of the cloud, the pillar of the fire, always before them as a symbol of his divine presence with them. We have that very presence as the children of God every day. You say, I want to do the will of God. He says, I'll show you. I'm in you. I live in you to show you where to go, what to say, how to respond, what to speak, and how to give. Israel knew God to be external because they were still in sin. But God is not external to us. He's within us. He so fully dealt with the issue of sin that we could be his temple, that the pillar of cloud could lead us in day, the pillar of the fire to lead us in night. When we don't understand, when everything seems dark, he's there to lead us, to guide us, to direct us in all that he desires to do in us and through us. He is in us the power to do battle against the enemy. He tells us to put on the whole armor of God, which is simply a picture of his presence. So as you walk day by day, make sure you're not allowing the enemy to give you a mindset of slave, that sin has power over you, that Satan can make you do things. But adopt the mindset of a beloved son and know that he's with you. And everywhere you go, he's with you. Listen to his voice. He'll show you where to go. He'll show you what to say, how to respond. Because this is the beautiful promise that we have. He's always with us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us in the journey of this life. I hope you have a great day.